Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. Big day here in D.C. where we are expecting the former President Trump to appear in a courthouse right here, not too far from the studio.
That's
so
right.
We'll give you all of the details about that and everything that we know thus far. Also, some big economic news. One of the major credit rating agencies downgrading the credit of the United States of America. We'll tell you about that and also about the Biden White House's reaction. We have reporting on an interesting meeting between former President Obama and current President Biden, with Obama apparently sounding the alarm that Trump is a lot politically stronger than Democrats have maybe been thinking. So we will take you inside all of that. And we also have MSNBC kind of freaking out about the Cornel West presidential bid and how black voters will do for the Democratic Party, what they will do, who they will vote for this year. We've got some news from the New York Times. Even they are admitting that the Ukraine counteroffensive not going well, and big sit-down interview between Devin Archer, that's that dude who was Hunter Biden's former business partner. He sat down with Tucker Carlson. Very interesting stuff there, and very excited to have a panel joining us this morning. Both sides of the case in terms of the Trump indictments. We've got someone who says this is a violation of free speech. They're going after him for, wrong thing. We've got someone who says, no, this is justified. So we'll get into all of that and attempt to have a very nuanced conversation about the legal analysis of these latest Trump indictments, Saagar. Before we get to any of that, though, thanks so much to everyone who has been signing up to become a premium subscriber this week. And just as a reminder, we have been having more ads inserted even into the premium YouTube feed. So if you want to get the whole show completely ad-free, the best way to do that at this point is through Spotify.
Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, as we said, they reserve the right to put ads on it, even though we don't want them to. We select the option not to. They've been doing it for some time, but it's especially gotten worse in recent times. So yeah, if you want to connect to Spotify, our customer service team's been doing a great job, Griffin as well, making sure that we're connecting everybody to the Spotify feed if they want to. That's also a good reminder, you can watch the full show in your Spotify app if you become a premium member, breakingpoints.com. Also, I thought we should mention this too. I realized, Krystal, given our posting schedule, we've been posting things on a different timeline these days. So if you actually want to watch the full show, like right when it comes out and not on a staggered schedule of what our team thinks is appropriate for that day, just sign up. You can become a premium member. You can watch it all at the exact same time. So anyway, those are two important shout outs. Thank you to everybody who has been signing up this week. It's been very helpful in terms of being able to do snap coverage, what we were doing last week, booking some big guests who we're working with down the pipeline, and then also, of course, with the studio and all of that. So it's just really a testament to everything that you guys have been helping us build. And we just want to thank you all again. Really can't thank you enough.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get to the big news today, which, as I said, former President Trump appearing in court once again here in D.C. Expectation is that will start at 4 p.m. today. Let's put this up on the screen. From The Guardian, headline here, Donald Trump to appear in court over attempt to overturn 2020 U.S. election. They give you a sense in this article. Let's go to the next piece of exactly what to expect. I mean, these are mostly perfunctory. We probably won't get anything particularly new here. They say prosecutors in Washington will outline the 4 conspiracy and obstruction counts, and a judge will set bail conditions in the latest criminal case involving the ex-president weeks after he was charged with putting government secrets at risk. They also say, of course, this is Trump's 3rd appearance in a courtroom as a criminal defendant. And in a possible preview of Trump's defense, his lawyer, John Lauro, has called the indictment a, quote, an attack on free speech and political advocacy, implying Trump's lies about election fraud were protected under the constitutional right to freedom of expression. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a panel on to debate the legal piece of this. And one of the individuals we're going to have on is certainly going to be making that case that this was all about free speech. And we've got someone on to make the other side of that as well. The judge in the case has gotten a lot of attention. This is an Obama appointee who has handed down some pretty harsh sentences in terms of January 6 defendants. She also actually ruled against Trump in a separate January 6 case. She refused to his request to block the release of documents to a House committee investigating the January 6 attack. I don't know if you all remember following that. And in what The Guardian describes as a memorable line from her ruling, the judge wrote, "Presidents are not kings and plaintiff is not president." So like I said, Saagar, not expecting anything super dramatic today. It's not even 100% certain that Trump is actually going to appear in court. There is some possibility that it'll be via Zoom, but D.C. seems to be certainly preparing for him to be here.
They are prepping for it. I can tell you the city's been kind kind of on edge. I keep hearing people, especially if anyone uses the Ring app, like neighbors, people are always like, "There's helicopters downtown."
Oh, for real?
Yeah, people are always on watch, and I'm like, "Relax, everyone. We'll know whenever we know." It's Washington. It's not like we don't have presidents, former presidents, and all those people rolling around here. I actually found it's not the immediate court proceedings, but now the current timeline of Trump's legal drama to be one of the most insane things on a political level. Let's put this up there on the screen. This was assembled by Fox News. So as you can see, Thursday, that's today, we've got the Jan 6 court appearance. August 23rd is the first GOP debate, which current indications seem he's going to skip it. October 2nd, then you've got the Trump Organization civil suit that will proceed in court. Then January 15th, you have the Iowa caucuses. The exact same day, there's a civil defamation suit, the continuing suit of E. Jean Carroll. Then a pyramid scheme class action.
I didn't even know about that one.
So that one, I also did not know about. March 5th, I've heard of this one. It's called Super Tuesday. Then March 25th, the New York State criminal hush money lawsuit. Then March 20th, the classified documents trial. Then July 15th, the Republican National Convention, and Election Day, November 5th, 2024. And this just underscores what is going to be the biggest element to all of this is the political drama layered on top of the legal problems. We don't yet have a trial date set for this. So remember, this is going to be somewhere in that timeline, Krystal, and just the true insanity. I mean, you and I have said this. On the documents, listen, I think it was charged relatively in a timely manner. With this one, they took 2.5 years, almost 3 years, to bring this case now against Trump. And now we're thrown into this insane situation where, very likely the most legal jeopardy really that he faces here on this case, just because of the, not exactly friendly judge and not exactly a friendly jury in terms of facing jail time. When are we going to find this out? Are we going to find out before Super Tuesday or not? Because that seems pretty damn relevant. If it happens after Super Tuesday, look, current indications, he's going to wrap this thing up on that day in terms of at least, look, everybody always usually knows by that time whether you're on the path to the nomination or not, unless it's a very, very tightly held election. I'm trying to think in modern memory. I think the last time that things really got clenched up post-Super Tuesday was probably Bill Clinton in 1992. So let's just put that there. If we know then he's on a dramatic path, then we are on the collision course to one of those most insane outcomes where he gets convicted, then we have what, an immediate kick of the case to SCOTUS? Imagine in the final days of the election, ahead, Trump gets convicted, SCOTUS vacates it, vacates a conviction or upholds a conviction. Either is an insane outcome that could lead to who the hell knows what in terms of the argument pre-election day. It makes the Comey press conference and all that look like the total JV squad.
That's so
compared
true.
to the drama we are setting ourselves up for is just absolutely nuts.
I mean, any hope that not that I had any hope that this election was going to be about policy issues. It's because neither Biden or Trump is really running on any policy issues. So it's not going to be about that. It's going to be about this timeline. I mean, that's the whole of what this election season is going to be about. I mean, in my opinion, Trump is already all but sewn up the Republican nominee. It's going to be very difficult to come from behind for any of these candidates. And, for him as a non-incumbent to have the sizable lead he has at this point, it's just hard to see how anyone makes that comeback. And, keep in mind with this timeline, too, this is not fully fleshed out. We still have the trial for these January 6th related charges. We still have whatever's going to happen in Georgia and whenever that trial is going to be scheduled. So between now and Election Day, there is going to just be a lot of legal news about all of this. And, I was thinking about the timeline piece. On the documents part, that makes sense to me. How the timeline unfolded. They were trying to get the documents back. They were actually trying not to use the criminal, justice process, but he was so uncooperative that ultimately their hand was forced. This one, I don't know why Merrick Garland doesn't appoint a special counsel on day one. Now, since Jack...
If he believed it, right? If he believed that this was worth a criminal inquiry.
Right. So Jack Smith, since he was handed the case, that timeline from when he got it to this outcome is, relatively expeditious. I don't know what Merrick Garland was doing for the first year and a half of the Biden administration.
It's a terrible look.
I really genuinely don't understand. And to me, that really doesn't serve anyone, regardless of how you feel about President. I saw Chris Hayes on MSNBC saying the same thing. you had enough time for the Senate to come up with their whole thing and, make their whole presentation, and for Congress to at least have some, assembling of the facts. What took so long to launch this investigation when we all saw January 6th unfold? Like, there was enough already on the public record to say this at least bears some investigating. So I do think that it was a disservice to the American people to wait so long. Now, that doesn't mean that, look, I personally, from my analysis as a non-legal person, looking at the charges, I think they're appropriate. I think Trump deserves to be held accountable for trying to steal the election. I think it is a horrible look to see all of the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th going to prison, and the guy who fomented and created the conditions that led to that whole situation getting off scot-free. So I don't oppose the charges, but I am confused and do think that the timeline, has created a even more fraught, chaotic, tense situation than we had to have.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I think that's what I would try to say. I still have a lot of questions around the free speech one. I genuinely do want to see it adjudicated because I want to see how that actually, how it matters in terms of elected officials and in terms of what you can and cannot say and what it means whenever it turns to criminal law. And I think those are legitimate and important points. So luckily, because it's Trump, we will actually get that adjudicated in terms of court. Now, on the political side, I just can't get over it. It's like you can't wait 2.5 to almost 3 years after the event to charge somebody. You can't decide not to charge the guy. Effectively, what's been coming out, Krystal, is they decided not to charge him, kind of, by Merrick Garland. Then he kicks the case in some weird way to Jack Smith, even though Jack Smith was appointed for the documents case. But hey, anything Trump-related, we'll just kick it to you. And then Jack Smith suddenly, expeditiously puts it. If you read the indictment, all of the evidence that was gathered before there has been available for, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever, after the fact. All the emails, everything is actually January 6, 2021. So, I mean, look, if you look at that and you check the timeline, there is just no question that if you're a Republican, you can't look at this and be like, this is the most politically convenient timing ever, right whenever he's surging. How about during the Biden situation? I mean, look, I think these are legitimate points. I will say, on our show, we've got both. We got Trump and Archer here, but you and I know this. Fox is not going to be talking about both, and neither is MSNBC. So the vast majority of people in this country are going to be imbibing kind of one narrative on this, and I can actually understand really for specifically a lot of these Trump voters are like, hey, this is BS. This is political. This isn't real. There's a reason they don't really use that on the documents case because it's so indefensible. But I think they've actually opened themselves up for. So like you said, for people who do believe that Trump should be charged and criminally liable for January 6th, to use that political attack against the genuine merits of the case because they didn't conduct themselves in a timely enough manner. And actually, Trump could possibly argue that much of this in court as well. Be like, what exactly took so long?
I don't see how that's I don't see how that's a valid defense.
The interesting thing from what I read is that because he's going to have the impaneled defense and the ability to subpoena, he will be able to use subpoena power to actually subpoena some of the investigators and other folks if you can use and mount a defense around the political timing and around the free speech aspect to his defense.
I mean,
in terms of getting people a deposition.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't the timing of it, I don't really see how that works as a defense other than in the political realm. And look, I think that definitely sells with Republicans. They don't think that these charges are justified anyway. Does it sell with independents and any sort of persuadable voters? I don't really think so, because this does get to the core of what people really despise about Donald Trump. And if they were, thinking of not voting for him, this is one of the core reasons why the chaos, the willingness. One thing that comes across in this indictment is just the casual approach to creating total mayhem. You've got this Justice Department official who's casually yeah, there'll be riots in every city in the country if we do this, but that's what the Insurrection Act is for. So I personally don't know that the timing piece really sells as a political argument for Trump that's going to be persuadable. People can hold two thoughts in their head, and this is what the polling has showed thus far with the documents case, with the Alvin Bragg case. They both feel okay, yeah, it's kind of political, these charges. Also, we think he did it, and we think it's serious, so we think it's real. So, I think that based on polling, the overwhelming majority of people feel like Donald Trump committed crimes with regards to trying to overturn the election. And just on the free speech part, Jack Smith goes out of his way in this indictment to say, listen, he's allowed to say the election is stolen. We're not going after him for that. He is allowed to take these claims to court. which he did, okay? And basically, didn't have any success there whatsoever because there was no there. But he was allowed to do that. None of that is criminal. What you can't do is then use those lies to perpetrate a fraud that involves, these 7 states of fake elector schemes and you pressuring Mike Pence to try to overturn the results and obstruct, quote unquote, official government proceeding. That's what you can't do. And that is the case that we're going to make in court. So listen, we're going to have both sides of that coin argued in our panel today. So look forward to hearing what the legal experts have to say about that. But to me, the idea that the Republican talking point about, oh, this violates free speech, it almost seems pre-baked and like they had this locked and loaded before they really absorbed the details of the indictment. That's just my humble opinion. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.